Cult Classic interview number 40. I'm here with Wendigo. Fucking thank you for joining me. If you guys
It's
watching,
my
you
pleasure.
can follow us on Instagram at kultclassicofficial. You can follow us on Twitter at kultclassicoff because Twitter's a hoe, won't let us put the issue. And you can follow us on TikTok at kultclassicofficial. Check out our merch. I'm wearing the Dice hoodie. Go get swagged out at kultclassicofficial.com. And this is interview number 40. We haven't done a podcast in a little over a year now. Your hair's grown back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Fucking
Yeah, I think I shaved it also like one time even in between. I think it's grown back twice now. That's how long it's been.
damn. So your hair grows fucking quick.
I
You
guess
grow a
so.
full head of hair fucking fast.
I mean, time flew by. Last time we spoke, the world was still like the world.
Yeah, bro. How is New York right now with all this shit going on?
To be honest, I haven't been in New York that much this year. I was back in New York City like a bit over a month ago, and where I'm currently living at, it was fine. Things are pretty open there, but I definitely do think that it's probably just going to like revert back to where it was at like 6 months ago. It seems like this COVID thing is coming back, and I'm not going to make any kind of predictions. I'm not a scientist or a pandemicologist, but it definitely does seem like, like I had a flight back home to New York a few days ago that I decided not to take because I would have had to quarantine in a hotel in New Jersey for 14 days. So it does seem like things are going to get kind of hectic again. And, but I don't know, New York for the most part, like most people that I live around don't seem to care too much and are trying to just like chilling.
Yeah.
It's different. It's not what it used to be, but it's definitely like probably like of the places that I've been this year, like one of the more open and like good spots. I was upstate most of this year. I was up in the country just like doing like redneck shit. I escaped the city and was just, trying to like chill and lay low. And it's been mostly fine.
Yeah, you guys decided there was just a fucking tornado in like New York.
Yeah.
Or some shit. I remember I saw that. I'm like, yo, the world is fucking ending, bro. There's a pandemic, global warming. There's a fucking tornado in New York. Like, we're all gonna die.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm just crossing my fingers that hopefully before I die, I can get this big Maybach and call it a day.
That's how you made it in music. Speaking of
it's the Maybach.
You got the Rick Ross feature on SoundCloud. I saw.
Oh yeah,
God damn.
Totally real feature, totally not a remix of another song.
Definitely not a remix.
Yeah, totally real feature.
Just a few of the same words, but like definitely a real feature from Rick Ross. How was being in the studio with Rick Ross? Was he eating lemon pepper wings?
You already know we had like 64 boxes of lemon pepper wings, just plowing through them. We were just talking about the old days in Miami back when me and him were just out in the streets with the booby boys, just doing all types of fun stuff. That's my guy. We go way back. So it's, it's always good with Mr. Ross.
Fucking trapping hard.
Yeah.
Fucking, so shit. I mean, since the last time we talked also, Spidergang has become arguably the most relevant group in the underground music scene right now, probably on the internet. And you said you haven't even been in New York much. So how has your life changed over the past year? You've been doing a lot of traveling, a lot of different beat placements. I saw you work with Craig's recently.
Yeah. Life this year, it's like interesting because I would say it's kind of like bipolar where a lot of stuff has been happening. Like in a lot of things, just like for my career, for everyone else in Spidergang's career, like the careers have been doing really good and we've all been experiencing a lot of growth, but it did happen this year. So most of like the actual ways we could have gone out and like expressed what's going on are just not really available. Like I personally haven't done a show in maybe like 8 or 9 months. Most people in Spidergang are probably in the same position, like not since March if any of us done shows. A few of us have, like Flacco did a show recently, I think Black did a show. But outside of that, everyone's kind of just been like cooped up. So it's been like a good thing and a bad thing. It's been a very good year in some aspects because with all that going on, it's nice to have a year where I've been able to just like sit at home and just like work on my stuff and not really have any kind of like obligations to like showing myself in the world. So that's been great for just being able to like really just like cook up and go crazy. But at the same time, I love going out and doing shows and, like just taking part in the community. Like I love being like just a figure in public. I love doing that. I love just, puffing out the chest and letting myself be known and shit. So like, I definitely miss that aspect. Like last year, like right before COVID hit, we had a show that was in New York City at like, the Living Gallery. That was like our best Spider-Gang show. And that really like set the stage, I feel like. And that was prior to like haha blowing up and just like a lot of things that have happened to Spider-Gang over the last like 9 months. So I do wish we would be able to like actually tangibly see that more in public. But this is like the only time I ever had in my life where I've literally just had like 9 months to just like work on me and like not
Yeah.
really have to engage with a lot of shit. So, you know, it's a mixed bag. I would say like the success of Spider-Gang is definitely being felt for us. We all like, you know, are doing better. We're all like more secure in our lives and shit. But I know all of us are definitely antsy to get out and just like do shit.
So you feel like kind of despite the huge, you know, amount of growth you've had over the past year, you feel like COVID maybe hindered that just a little bit because, you know, being out there, being able to shake hands and see hella heads at the show and shit, like
Yeah, I think it's been fun.
That's definitely a huge point in growing because, you know, someone going out to a show can make the difference between just like, you know what I mean, a kind of fan and like a hardcore fan.
Yeah, there's
So
a
once they
big
see,
distinction between like internet clout and like public clout. And I guess not even necessarily like clout, but just like presence. Like being really big on the internet doesn't necessarily mean like you're going to be able to pull a crowd or some shit. So being able to just like show yourself in both places is very important.
so is that kind of the plan for next year for you guys? I don't know if you guys like fully coordinate as like a group or not, but is that kind
Yeah,
of like the plan next year for you guys?
whenever things start opening up, there's tons of things that are just in the works that we would like to do. But that's all just like contingent on, you know, when the world is like ready for that. And not even like the world ready for the music, but just like literally when the world is like ready to open up and just become like a place where, you know, shows can happen and all of that.
Yeah. No, that's
So
facts.
hopefully next year, yeah, I would like, it looks like it'd be next year, but you know, like I said, I'm not a pandemicologist. I'm not going to try to like, who knows how long this is going to last.
No, facts, bro. And then I heard some shit recently about when Biden, and I'm not gonna try and get into politics and all that shit. I fucking hate politics. They both suck. But Biden getting in office and shit wants to shut everything back down and shit for a period of time. And that, I mean, that's not even to what, end of January. So
Yeah.
like we're gonna be riding this out for a while, you know, unfortunately. So is there like with Spider Gang and shit, now that you guys have been going, you guys have added more members to the group and stuff like that, is there really like a type of like organization, like do you guys have like a plan as a group, or are you guys just kind of all kind of affiliated doing your own thing?
Um, it's kind of like fluid, I would say for the most part. Like actually, I would just split it into two parts. Like it's yes to both of those things. Like everyone is doing their own thing, and everyone is always going to be, you know, like right now, for example, like there's probably like 6 or 7 albums being worked on. I'm not going to say from who or any of that, but there's probably like 7 albums that are just being like worked on by individuals in Spider Gang. But with all that going on as well, there's lots of posse tracks being worked on, and there's just like lots of like one-off things going on all the time. I think that like as a group, we don't necessarily try to like plan things too heavy in the future just because things are always going to spontaneously like end or begin, and that's just like kind of part of the game. But definitely to a large degree, like a good percentage of the group is currently like just working together on a lot of stuff. It's super like here and there. Like some things will happen this way, other things will happen another way. And overall, I think the game plan is that like everyone is kind of seamlessly like will do their thing and work with each other. A lot of people, I think, in the group are like kind of meant to complement the whole group. We're more focused on like I think being a group that has like a bunch of people that can all be cool together than just like cool themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's both. Everybody, you know, there's not like it's not like we have some kind of like massive like book of like plans that's gonna last
Yeah.
like 5 years, but we do have a lot of things that are gonna be like worked out that we'll have going on for like the next few months to like the next year for sure.
Word. So fucking do you think with the success of Darky and stuff, because like he's surpassed artists he was like, you know, looking up to as far as popularity goes and as far as where his music is reached at this point. Do you feel like with the success of him and being probably the, you know, one of the biggest artists to not reach the mainstream level yet, do you think with the success of that it's going to be easier to push other Spider Gang members?
Um, like yes and no. I do definitely think that him being where he's at is like an incredible thing. And that's going to be like, and I think for everyone that wants to do things with him, that's great. But I do know that a lot of people in Spidergang right now, I think like as a group, everyone's definitely thinking about that. Like heads are thinking, oh, you know, we do have one person in the group that is like much bigger than the rest. So what can we all do to just like, you know, not get like washed out? And that's something that, you know, me personally, I don't think about that as much because my position in the group is different. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm like, even though I rap a little bit, I'm a producer. So, and I produce for basically everyone in the group. So I'm not super concerned about that. But I definitely do think about it where it's like, if you look at the history of a lot of groups that have like been in rap or like super groups in rock, there's a lot of like, you know, situations like this that does happen a lot where like, you know, look at like Odd Future, ASAP Mob or Wu-Tang or like NWA, like literally like any group like that has more than like 3 people in it. Like oftentimes like 1 or 2 people will like rise out of the ranks of that group and will achieve like crazy stardom when the rest of them aren't necessarily always able to do it. And the reasoning for that, I'm not going to comment on. I don't know. That's all. That's kind of like individual per group. But definitely, like I know me personally, I'm thinking about that. I'm just thinking about like trying to make sure that like as the producer, as like the support role in the group, I want to make sure that everybody can have their moment and like not, and no one's gonna be like a side character. I want everyone to be like a protagonist in the story,
Yeah.
not just like not, you know, I don't want to have a bunch of like you know, little fucking supporting roles running around. Like I want to make sure everyone can shine.
No, that's facts. So like, because if you look at it like because Darky's where he's at right now, Dillinger could very easily, you know what I mean, hit that level. If we are looking at who is kind of like getting up there with him, I'd say like, you know, Dillinger could very easily be at that level like next year. You know, Flacco is coming up. You got Edison. You got Black. My bad. Yeah. Yeah, you got Brahmain and like shit. I'm not gonna just sit here and name everybody. You guys got a lot of members, but it could very easily, you know, go that way with like, because I mean, think about it. Fucking Bill Gates at a fucking TikTok.
Yeah.
To haha, like you guys have reached an insane amount of people, and it's not even just like in the United States anymore. Shit is worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely worldwide. What was your reaction when you first saw the haha TikTok?
Honestly, it was like one of like the weirdest things I've ever experienced in my life. Because when I first saw haha doing what it was doing, like I didn't see haha when it had like 1,000 TikToks, like when it had 100. Like I just one day Darky just calls me and he's like, go on TikTok and look up haha. And I click on it, and there was like 600,000 videos have been made to it, and it was all the people doing like the weird little like, you know, trend where like they do like the makeup and they put on the face or whatever. And so I don't know what it was. Like, I really don't know why that happens. And in my personal opinion, you could ask Darky, you could ask really like me or him about this. Both of us don't really like that song. That's like not a song that we figured was going to become our biggest song. And like at first we were almost kind of panicked. We were like, fuck, like this song sucks. Like, why is this our biggest song now? Like, what the fuck? And then, you know, it was just like a trippy experience. It was just weird. Like just seeing all these people that, you know, and like when I saw it, like, I think the reason why I saw it was because James Charles had made a TikTok to it. So there's like seeing like celebrities that have nothing to do with music. They have nothing to do with like any of the shit that we're doing, have nothing to do with like any of our values, just like making dance videos to this song. So it was just trippy. It was like for like weeks, it just like every day you'd go on TikTok and there's like 100,000 more, 200,000 more until it got to like 6 million videos have been made with it. And yeah, it was like, in the moment, like kind of weird and like it, you know, it was cool. And I don't want to sound like spoiled for saying it like was like a bad thing, but like initially our reactions to it was just like, what the fuck is happening? Like we were so shocked and like just put back by it that we couldn't really enjoy it. But then like looking back at it, like, you know, that has changed my life a lot. So like I'm very like grateful that happens.
Yeah, that's a huge song. Like I was really this, you know what I mean, poking around the internet. You know, I do this on board and shit. Especially before I do interviews, I go, you know what I mean? I'll check artists' social media profiles and shit. And I was just noticing that I didn't even realize haha was the biggest song you guys did until recently. And it's just it never really is, you know what I mean, the songs that you expect. I hear a lot of artists and a lot of producers say that like we didn't expect this song to be like the biggest one, but it's always like the least expected ones. fucking you as a producer, who have you gone on to work with since the success you've been having? I know you've gone on to work with Craig Zen.
Yeah, I mean, I've been honestly trying to make an effort to pretty concise and just like work mostly with people in Spidergang. There are some things that are coming that I'm not going to comment on, but definitely like, some funny little mischievous things will happen in the next few months. But yeah, mainly just been trying to work on with like shit with my friends. I definitely do think that a lot of the beats that I happen to make compliment certain people. Like I think they compliment like the Spidergang aesthetic very well, but it can be harder for me to get like a placement. Like some like my favorite rappers, like one of my favorite rappers is like Gucci. I love Gucci. I love Rick Ross. Some of my favorite rappers. Rick Ross, not so much on this part, but like with like someone like Gucci, like I love Gucci. I would love to get a Gucci placement, but like I generally don't make beats that like someone like Gucci would just like want to hit. At least I don't think I do. Like most of the beats that I make, I feel like are more tailored towards just like weird, like zany, like cartoon rappers. So yeah, mostly just people in Spidergang. And outside of that, yeah, Craig Zen happened. Did this song with Matt Ox that came out like a few weeks ago. And then that's basically like all I'll say for now.
Yeah, I did see the Mad Ox shit. That was very interesting. I
Yeah.
can't. It was weird because like I didn't expect it, but I can't say I was surprised at the same time. Like it made sense, but I like wasn't expecting it. If you know what I mean.
No, definitely.
So you feel like that's kind of like your main role right now, because you said kind of like being the support of Spidergang. You know what I mean? Kind of helping keep things together and producing. So you're more or less focused on Spidergang than trying to be the producer who's out here chasing placements.
Yeah,
Focus on
definitely. And I do find that it's like I feel very lucky just to have found these people like so early on in my career, because I do genuinely think it's like having done songs with artists that are like signed to labels and who are like I know this is something that I noticed, for example, like when I'll go home to my hometown, and this is no shade at my hometown, it's something I just noticed, like a song like Haha, which has like 15 million plus streams on it at this point. Like people aren't gonna necessarily comment on that. Like it's not like people that I knew growing up aren't gonna say anything about that. Or like when I produced a song for Darky, who's like a big artist now, like no one's gonna say shit about that. But then if I make a song with like Craig Zen or like Keith Ape, people are like, oh, we got a song with Craig Zen or Keith Ape. And it's like personally, and this is also just like how I feel about it, I prefer working with Darky. Like he's my favorite person to work with. Like so it's like I noticed that people around me will like ask more questions about these other artists that are like people that I didn't necessarily come up with, who aren't so like people that like I fuck with, but aren't just like my closest compatriots. So I find that I'm not super interested in just like working or getting placements with like really big artists. If that means like if I had to pick one or the other, I'm picking Spidergang for sure. Like there's no question about that. And that is a question that I've had to like that I have been asked by people like in the industry before. It's like, hey, you need to make a choice if you want to work with us. You got to pick us or Spidergang. And I find that absolutely absurd that I've been asked that even before.
You've been asked that before?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
that all ties more into just like record label things. And yeah, there's been labels that I've, like had short little conversations with that will, that kind of always put me off just because, so-and-so A&R is like, hey, we like your beats. Let's, send me some stuff and I'll pass it along. And then I'll do that. And like a week later, they're just like, oh yeah, these are really cool. I want to work with you more, but like, we don't like the brand that you're associated with. So like, you can either like work with us or do your thing. And it's like I just find that offensive to even like tell me that. Like it's honestly like it's fucked up.
That's completely absurd. I've been talking with a bunch of other producers and everybody just kind of have their own route in this shit. And I've kind of noticed the best route to take is directly working with the artist. You know what I mean? Coming up kind of with the artist, and that's the road you're going down. That's kind of what a lot of advice I give to other producers when, you know what I mean, they ask me, shit like that. I always say, you know what I mean, more or less focus on trying to come up and work with somebody, develop a sound, then try to chase everything like that. But yeah, I could fucking rant here about that shit all day. But I'm just like,
no, that's how I feel about it too. Like I spent more years of my life being in bands than producing beats. Like I spent like 5-6 years just like playing guitar. So I'm just more used to like the approach of like being in a band and like just being in a group of people than just being like some lone wolf dude who just like makes beats and sells them. Or like I prefer being in the group environment and being in that dynamic.
No, that's facts, and it definitely makes for more creative music. create more creative music and better music. Like I feel like the music is just better when you put two people who are used to working with each other and want to work with each other.
Absolutely.
How has your sound developed since the last time we talked? 'Cause I know you were heavy on, you know what I mean, heavy on sampling and stuff like that. You kind of
Oh
had
yeah.
the heavy. You had a very fucking distinctive "That's a Wendigo" sound. You still do, but how do you plan on tweaking that sound in the future?
Well, I've honestly had to hit like a pretty full 180 since then. Since Spidergang has gotten bigger, I personally have adopted a policy where I don't sample at all anymore. Just because I'm not interested in getting sued and dealing with that and having to spend money on songs. I'd rather just make the shit myself. Um, Being in upstate New York for a lot of this year, I spent like 8 months just in the woods basically. That definitely had like an impact on me. And a lot of the shit that you will hear on the upcoming projects of Spidergang members, I think will kind of just give you like a sense of like the answer to that question. But I've been much more focused on like playing guitar again. So almost like every beat that I make nowadays will have a guitar in it. Even if it's like not like the main thing. Like I'll just add guitars to fucking everything now. I've been trying to get just better at like, I feel like I had gotten to a point where I was very comfortable making like super heavy distorted beats, and that was like fun. But I was getting bored of that like beginning of this year. So I've been more focused, I think, the last like 9-10 months on just making like more like, I guess, like musical things, just like beats that are more just like rooted in like shit outside of rap or outside of like the SoundCloud sound, shit more just like rooted in rock or like jazz or just like, I don't know. I'm an old head. I love old rap, and I always have like wanted to just like get better at making more just like wavy, like cool, like just like classic instrumentals. And whether that's like boom bap or G funk or just like anything in between, like even just like genreless shit. I've just been more focused on, I guess, making things that are like, instead of relying on like a really fat 808 to be hard, it just relies on like really like cool like melodies and just like cool like musical ideas to be hard.
Yeah, that's in that music kind of has, more longevity to it.
Yeah,
We're
like
kind
I
of
find I
talking,
just enjoy it more.
yeah, if we're talking in the realm of Spidergang, like songs like Electric Dandelions, Banana Pie, Composition 11. I know Composition 11 was Cubensis. But songs like that, longevity wise, tend to sit with people longer than songs like Holocaust.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that I just like personally prefer, like, I think I'm just like usually what I'll listen to like nowadays. Like there was a period in my life where I was listening to SoundCloud rap exclusively for like like a year and a half. But now I just find myself like never even really on there. I just listen to like shit I just like used to fuck with, or just like new things on Spotify. Like I feel like my tastes just personally have just changed a lot in the last like year and a half. So I've just been trying like to reflect that in the shit that I'm making.
So definitely changing your environment and going upstate New York is heavily influenced.
Yeah, just being around like a bunch of trees and like rivers and like actual like nature, just being outside, like catching bass. Like honestly, catching a bass changed my whole perspective on music.
Really?
Yeah. Or
Damn,
like shooting like shooting guns, like just like being outside, like shooting guns, catching bass, like hiking, like things like that just like made me realize like the 808 shit is like cool, but I want to like make like what I actually enjoy in life is much more grounded in like just like nature and reality. And I feel like that 808 shit is kind of like, it's just very robotic a lot of the time. And I'm not trying to just like make super like robot music all the time. I want to make more just like human music.
damn. That's crazy. Yeah, catching a bass is a lot different than catching a crackhead, huh?
Yeah, no, whole different vibe, and honestly, like way harder.
What brought you from Brooklyn to going upstate? Like,
Oh,
did you mean, was it purposely like you wanted to change your environment?
no,
Like,
not at all. When COVID, it was there was this one morning where I was with Dillinger and my other roommate Doc Laundry, and this was like right when the NBA got canceled. It like had just been like shut off for the season. And I woke up and Dillinger was just panicked. He's like, they canceled the NBA. Like, what the fuck am I like? What's going on? That's when we kind of knew like this shit got serious. And literally like that morning, we were so concerned about the NBA getting canceled. We all just like decided to just like go home. And we thought the show would like last a few weeks and just blow over. But then of course this became just like COVID, and it lasted months. So I just had gone upstate. That's where I'm from. So I went home like to my mom's house and I just lived there. And I was thinking I'd just be there for like a few weeks, and then a few weeks became a few months, and then a few months just became most of the year. So it wasn't really intentional, but after like a little while of being there, I just like grew like an appreciation for it again.
so what you said catching a bass changed your perspective on music. I know you said We'll probably find that out when we hear some of the newer stuff that's released down the
Yeah,
road.
there are some songs you can like that Rick Ross song. Like, if you go on my SoundCloud, like shit that I've been dropping personally, like outside like the Matt Ox song, like there's a song I have called Bondage Song. Like that Rick Ross song, those are kind of like what I like the proto ideas, like the new sounds. And I still love making ignorant shit. And like in the past like few weeks where I've been around people in Spidergang a lot in the last few weeks, and we've been making a lot of just like cracked out ridiculous Spidergang bullshit as well. But yeah, I think that just like I guess how I would describe like the sound that I'm just going for. Yeah, it's more just like spacey and trippy and weird, and more and like I feel like I also kind of realize as well, like you can only just go so far with like making really hard beats. You can only like this one that MK Ultra said like the other day, that one reason he thinks that like a lot of like metal music got like worse over time is because a lot of people in like the community of metal just wanted to keep like pushing the boundary of hardness. Like, how do I break the wall of being hard? But then you take like a band like Metallica. Like Metallica is probably still considered like the greatest metal band of all time, despite putting out like a lot of bad albums in the last like decade. But they still have such a high stature because a lot of their music that they made when like in their peak is so diverse. Like they have really hard shit that stands the test of time, but they also have these beautiful songs like Orion, like the Call of Cthulhu, and just like, you know, these beautiful moments on songs that just like make it so like their music has more like depth to it, has more layers to it. And the SoundCloud shit, I feel like, just to me at least as a listener, stopped having layers to it. So like as somebody takes part in it, I wanted to just like step back and like think like, well, what can I add to this that's gonna actually bring out a new thing, as opposed to just like deriding off what's already here.
So what do you think is the next step in the music industry from SoundCloud? Because we're kind of getting out of the SoundCloud era. The streaming era and the SoundCloud era are kind of blending right now. What do you
Yeah.
think is kind of next for artists? Because we're gonna stop seeing a lot of people come up directly off SoundCloud.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea. Like, I think that that's just going to happen. It's going to be some shit that, like, it probably is already happening right now. Whatever it is, probably already going on. And we might even already be taking part in it. But I'm not even going to, like, make a judgment call because I have no idea.
Yeah, it's probably happening right now. I just haven't like pinpointed it yet.
Yeah.
Has your process for making beats changed? You said you don't sample as much. You said you add guitar pretty much to everything. How
Yeah.
has that beat making process changed for you?
It changes, like, even, like, weekly. Like, I find that, it's kind of like an abstract question because there's a lot of times where I will kind of get in, like, I feel like every few weeks or so, I'll get into like the groove of making like a certain two or three things, and I'll just like figure that out, and then I'll just like move on. So like, for example, like there's like a portion of time, like when I went back to Brooklyn like a month ago, I was making a lot of beats that just were like really high tempo, like crazy, like Eddie Van Halen, like guitar melodies over like 808s and shit. And so like I was doing that like for a week, and then like a week later I was back to just making like boom bap beats. I find that like my process nowadays has changed more. So like not necessarily directly like how I'm actually making the beats. Like I still do shit mostly the same way, but I've just learned new shit. But I definitely think that I'm more interested in like variety now. Like a year ago, I would have just sat down and made like three hard ass like crunchy beats and been cool with that. But now I just prefer like, moving around and just like floating about a few different styles like in a given time and just trying those till I'm like sort of done with them, and then just moving on to some other shit.
The last time we talked, you said your process was pretty much just waking up, smoking a shit ton of weed, listening to music for about an hour, and then jumping in and usually sampling. So you kind of
Yeah.
just like gone beyond that now, and it's just kind of like however it comes together, it comes
Yeah,
together.
I don't really do any of that anymore. I don't even really smoke weed that much anymore. Like usually like I do the part where I'll wake and listen to music, but yeah, I don't that process back then was just like different. And yeah, not being able to sample at first was like a hindrance, and I was like, that was like a thing I wasn't looking forward to. But like now that I've just like been doing that for a while, I almost like can't even imagine going back to that.
Yeah, you feel like you have a lot more creative control.
Yeah,
Definitely
and I
once you
I,
learn
I
to.
definitely just enjoy like if it feels more like actually songwriting. It feels more instead of just like making a beat where I just like take some other shit. And don't get me wrong, I love the art of sampling. Like I think it is one of the most like respectable things as a producer is seeing someone take a sample and just like icing that shit out and making it super cool. But I do really enjoy the process of just like songwriting, right? like picking up a guitar and just like kind of fucking around with it for a little bit. So I have like a melody or like a chord progression. It's kind of like, it's sort of brought me back to a point where like I've gotten more used to just like looking at beats in a different way, where a year ago I'd look at a beat and it's like, okay, I'll find this sample and I'll just like work on that and like add shit on top of it. But now I have to look at it more like, well, now I don't have anything to add on to it. It's like I just start with nothing, that I have to create all of it. And so it's more, it gives you some more freedom, but it's also like a sampling. I guess the way that I saw it was like a more of like a way you can generate really cool noises like super easily. But now I just have to do that shit myself. So there's a bit more like thought that has to go into it, but I like that aspect of it.
So you feel like having all that experience in bands and guitars definitely has bands and guitars and even sampling and making beats has kind of all came together now and enabled you to be able to create music like you are at the moment.
Yeah. And no, if I didn't know guitar, like if I hadn't learned guitar prior, and this I think even applies to back when I was sampling, if I hadn't learned how to play guitar back in the day, I don't think I would have been able to learn how to make beats like fast. I think I would probably right now like still be like struggling crazy.
No, that's facts, because definitely like looking back on it, like piano definitely helped me a shit ton, because I started making beats without any knowledge of any music, and then piano, I learned piano, like took a year of piano lessons, and that shit just like brought everything together. So do you have any plans on learning any other instruments? Or are you just kind of sticking with guitar?
Like sort of. I do want to get better at playing keys, because that's a good thing to know how to make beats. But I think the main thing that I'm really trying to learn is like I want to learn how to play bass guitar better, which, you know, it's very much related to playing guitar. Like they follow like the same music theory. They you know, it's like the same like construct basically. But I just want to get better at my technique with that. But honestly, like not so much. Like I think I do want to just like I don't know. I just grew up really on guitar music. Like my favorite fucking musician is Eddie Van Halen. Like rest in peace. And when he died, actually, it had me thinking where it's like, you know, that man, at least to me, like he innovated and did so much crazy shit that has inspired me, you know, for all of my life. And I almost feel like obligated to just like trying to do that for kids and shit. Like I feel obligated to just like trying to, you know, get to that level, because ultimately it's like, I think that like the guitar is such a cool and like expressive and like fun instrument. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I really want to have that tradition not die. Like I want to see that art just survive. So yeah, I'm just going to keep doing guitar mainly and making beats.
And it definitely shows when you do live performances. I know it's been a while, because you go crazy with the guitars at the shows.
Thank you.
They, whoever's performing on stage definitely gives you the moment to kind of shine on the guitar. I've seen you throwing solos, and I've seen everybody around you with their phones out. You know what I mean? Fucking tagging you and shit, playing guitar, just ripping that shit. So it's a Spidergang live performance is definitely different, and you definitely bring that aspect to it. So that's something that I definitely, you know, respect about you as a musician. It was what I did one time. I did see you perform in person with a guitar. That was something else, man. I will say, you go to a lot of underground shows and you don't see shit like that.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like that's actually like probably one of like the main things that I am concerned about with music, is that I do think that music right now is great, but like for me as a listener, I think there is like a lack of just like raw fucking like classic music, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because everybody, it's like with SoundCloud and shit and the internet really expanding, it's giving everybody the chance to make music, and that's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, hold on. I have a guest speaker who wants to just say a quick word. Let me just get him on the line.
Fuck
hey,
you.
what's up, bro?
Yo, really quick, what the fuck was the song after Colossal Conflict that you tweeted?
I know one of them was like fucking Super Skirmish. I gotta go find
it was
this.
Like Intense Insurrection or something.
Yeah, I gotta go find this tweet.
Yeah, whatever, nigga. Who you doing the interview with?
I'm here with Mr. Bobby Dee.
Shout out Bob Dizzle.
Shout out Bob Dizzle.
Hey, what's good, bro?
I'll let you get back to it.
All right, yeah, I'll see you soon, bro. Talk to you later. Peace. Yes.
Fuck
but
yeah.
Yeah,
I
think that I just want to see like more, you know, like people. I don't know. I just love it is like there's no reason for it. It is like it's just anything else, but like something about just seeing someone like playing an instrument, just like that makes me like more inspired. I feel like I just like as like a show experience, like when I saw Kanye live one time, and Mike Dean played a guitar solo and like a synth solo, and I was like, damn, like that's like the coolest shit. Like when you go to most rap shows, like dudes are just like rapping and jumping around and shit, and that's cool, but like it's lit to just like have shit. Here's a Brummin god. So I had a Bobby Dee Brummin.
What's good, Bobby Dee?
Oh, what's good, Bobby?
Yeah, so I'm doing an interview right now. What's up?
I was calling to say, yeah, next time y'all come over, we gotta watch the new 6ix9ine documentary.
Well, there's a new 6ix9ine documentary?
So there's a documentary on Hulu. It's called 6ix9ine, The Saga of Danny Hernandez.
Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, we'll watch that.
All right.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you later.
All right, peace out. See y'all.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I just like I grew up on that shit. I just want to see more of that. I think that shit's just like good for the world. I genuinely think, and I've been feeling this way lately, where it's like I've been jamming with like people around here, like especially with, like MK and like Dark. We're all like playing instruments together now, and just like playing instruments is such like a healthy thing. There's something that's like so like based about that shit when you're just like just playing music with your friends. There's not like any words or there's not really any kind of like fucking rap shit going on. It's just a bunch of heads just like playing guitars and bongos and shit in a room. Like I did shrooms the other night and we were just like playing instruments, and that I felt like I was like a fucking like deity. Like I feel like music just brings like this energy out of people. Like actually like playing an instrument and like learning how to do that, it's like a martial art. It just like kind of like centers you. It just like I think like that's like an art that it's not like dead. It's not like fully dying, but I do just think like in like the world of like a lot of like music right now, it's just like not represented enough.
Creating music with actual instruments and being able to play an instrument, it's like you said, it's a martial art. It takes years of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot different than, you know, I mean, these artists who are just grabbing beats off the internet that kind of sound like something they heard on the radio or something else they heard on SoundCloud and kind of copying that style. It's a lot different.
It's also like a much different, like especially like in like the beat making like analogy, where it's like there's like a much different process to things where when you're making a beat, you can't like really like jam making a beat. Like you can't, like people don't really just like sit down and just like open up Ableton or some shit and just like play melodies. Like some people might do that, but like when you're making a beat, you're trying to build like a finished product. That's kind of the idea. Like you start with something and then you make it finished and you give it to someone else. But when you like, if you know how to play drums or how to play piano or guitar, you can just sit down with a bunch of other musicians and just play some music that's not going to go anywhere. It's just like you're just like making noise in the moment, and knowing how to do that and just like how to like take part in like that kind of environment. I feel like not only is it like very therapeutic, but I feel like that just like enhances when you make the beats. Because like there's been times like where me and MK are playing some shit, we're just jamming, and then we're like, oh, that's a cool idea, let's go make that into a beat. And then we happen to make some like the weirdest beats we've ever made, just because like we just happen like to just like get into that groove while like playing music. And, like you find yourself like just having ideas you wouldn't normally have, just like trying to make a beat. You have like totally other ideas that are inspired by like things that outside of beat making. So it's like it's just healthy. It's a good thing to do.
And, you know, taking those things like, you know what I mean, just jamming in the room on shrooms with instruments, catching a bass, hiking, your life outside of making beats and even music is just as important, I feel like, to actually making the music.
It's honestly even more important.
Yeah, it might be like a 60-40 type deal, and that might even be a, you know what I mean, overestimate or underestimate. But like,
I think in the end, and this is totally unrelated to this music at this point, but like in the end, like when you're dying, like I know that like me personally, like when I look back at like my life, like in the last like 3 years, it's like, yeah, like I have memories that are really good of making music. I have plenty of memories that are really good at making music, but a lot of my crazy memories the last 3 years were just like things that just happened to me like in my life, and I'm gonna remember that shit for a longer time than just like making the Holocaust beat.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like, I think we did talk about this in our last interview. If you're not out there having experiences, like you just said, experiences that you're going to remember, you're not going to make great music.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think that if you're not inspired, you're not inspired, and you're just going to make some bullshit.
Yeah, like you said, you've been traveling, or not really traveling. You haven't really been in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? And it's kind of helped change your whole sound.
Yeah.
You know, you've gone out. I'm sure you've gone out to LA LA a little bit recently, or in the past, whatever, since we talked. And
Yeah.
that you've been even able to bring that back to the music. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So fucking, you said you do shrooms playing guitar, bro. Well, I do shrooms. I don't know. Maybe I haven't unlocked that area of my fucking mind yet, even though I've done shrooms probably dozens of times now. I can't do music. I cannot do the music thing on shrooms, bro. I do not know why.
No, I understand. Like there's been plenty of trips that I've had where I also can't. It's like, it's kind of just like on a case by case basis where it's like some trips, you know, you can never plan a trip. You can't just like say, like once the shit hits, the shit hits. It's like what you're going to do is what you're going to do. And the last times that I tripped, I had not made music. But then this last time that I tripped, like a few days ago, I didn't actually make beats. We just played music. And at times it got a little bit intense to the point where like I kind of didn't want to keep doing it. But, you know, it's like doing that, I guess what it was like it maybe I like not even so much like the music we were playing directly was inspiring to me, but it was more like the actual action itself. I was like I kind of like had like almost like ego death about it, where I was like, damn, like what the fuck is happening? Like I'm just sitting here like plucking some like fucking strings and like making noises, and we're all just like gigging out to this, and this is just like cool. Like this shit makes no sense, but it's like the coolest shit ever. Like it's stupid, but it's lit. And it kind of like helped me just like realize like that's what music is. Music is stupid and it's lit. Like taking that shit too seriously is kind of not the way to go about it, but also just like, and yeah, just enjoy it for what it is. Like we're just gonna sit here and do shrooms and all like play like Viking melodies and gig out and shit. And it's like, you know, that's fun. That's as fun as anything else, even though it's like it has no kind of real like meaning. It was just, but it felt so meaningful despite having no meaning. And that was like made me just like realize like, oh yeah, like that's what music is. Music is just kind of like some abstract shit that like is just really fun and enjoyable, and like that's just what it should be.
And those are the people who tend to make the best. That's where the best music comes from. People who just make it that. That's how you guys in Spidergang kind of, I feel like, came up. Like from what I get from talking to you guys, I don't get that you guys all got together and were like, all right, you know what I mean? We're gonna really, you know, go this way. We're gonna take this so seriously. We're gonna da da da. Like I feel like you guys
at one point we
had fun with it. I mean, you got to have that balance too. But you guys, the basis of you guys, I feel like the music you make is just fun.
Yeah, no, like I think when I first like met Durkee and when the shit was like first beginning, and we were just like younger and just didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We were more serious. But as we've gotten older, we've been like, yeah, whatever, like fuck it. I have another guest. I keep getting all these calls.
Damn, you're popular ass fucking guy.
Edison, I'm on Bobby Dee right now. Say what's up.
Oh hell yeah, boy! I'm about to send you the motherfucking verse for the.
All right, yeah, word. No, I'll peep that afterwards. All right, cool. No, I'll take a listen to that, and I'll call you later.
Hell yeah, love you.
Love you, bro. Talk to you later.
Popular ass fucking guy over here.
Yeah, a whole lot of shit going on right now.
Fucking yeah, that's just shit. I was asking you guys questions about organization and shit, and we're getting visible proof. Yeah. You know what I mean? Getting calls about all these verses and sending shit through, like. So it's like, is it kind of like this every day?
Yeah. Damn near.
People just calling you, you know what I mean? I'm sending this verse back. I need this beat. We need to watch the 6ix9ine documentary.
Yeah, like right now is especially crunch time. So like right now, Spidergang currently is organized. Like the current way that Spidergang is organized, and this is actually like back to that question, maybe like a better way to answer it. A lot of Spidergang's organization, I feel like, comes down more so to physically what's happening, like where we're at. So right now, there's a bunch of us who are all together. Like half of Spidergang is like all in the same area right now. So a lot of shit's going on. And yes, like when we're all together, it's like this is crunch time. Like we're working right now. So we have to just like, I think right now there's way more like coordination. If we were just all doing our own things, like off in our own corners of the world, it wouldn't be as like much going on. But yeah, right now, especially, I think just like in the context of this year where it's like the year's about to be over. This year's been a weird fucking year. Everyone's trying to put out their albums and their singles and this and that and trying to get all this shit done before 2021 or to have for 21. Just a lot of like, there's a lot of crunch time going on. It's like right now, it's like things are just like especially busy right now.
Shit. Fucking, yeah, do you guys kind of like plan your releases out? Like, so you guys don't, I mean, not you, obviously. the artists in Spidergang kind of plan the releases out so they don't bump into each other, like releases?
Kind of. We do that on our YouTube channel. We do that. Like if someone drops a video on YouTube, we're not about to just like drop like 3 more that week, even if like we have them on deck. But outside of that, sometimes like, I think that's kind of up to the person dropping shit. Like if I know like, you know, if someone puts out an album, like it's usually like, it's not going to like be super common to say like someone else put out the album that same day or like the day after, but that could happen. I think that like really the only time that we really consider that is just like the Spidergang YouTube channel, because that's one channel for all of us. So naturally, of course, we have to plan that out and make sure it's not just like full of fucking one person's videos or whatever. But outside of that, everyone's got their own like, you know, pages going on and their own artists. So like they're just doing their thing.
Has being in this, you said like half Spidergang's in the same kind of undisclosed location right now. You know what I mean? Hidden secret.
Yeah.
Away from the COVID, so the spiders don't get the virus.
Yeah.
How has that kind of affected the music?
Oh, it's been getting so cracked out and ridiculous lately. I feel like this is just like the general thing that happens in this kind of environment is where when a lot of us get together, I feel like you know how it is with like every single. It's not actually, I was talking about this with Dillinger last night, and it's something that Dillinger said. I'm gonna quote him right now. Every single person has their own personality, but every single group also has their own personality. So there's, you know, like 6 of us all together right now. And that's basically 6 personalities all coming together and becoming one other thing. So, you know, and I don't necessarily have to even explain because, you know, there's plenty of videos you could see on YouTube of how Spidergang generally is when we're all together. So, you know, like things like Meth Head Freestyle for reference and shit like that. So right now the personality of the group is really just, I think, even grimier than ever.
Well, shit. I guess we'll hear in the future when the music all kind of comes out.
You'll hear in the future.
Who's been added to Spidergang since we talked? Because I know
a few people.
It's been funny. It was funny as fuck because during the Gunk Rock interview, I know I asked why Flacco Edison weren't in Spidergang, and Darky was like, because not everybody needs to be in Spidergang. We just don't need to. And like a week before the interview dropped, it was like, oh yeah, they're in Spidergang now. But
yeah,
like,
I think since our last interview, since then, we added MK Ultra. We just added Teenage Disaster like 3 days ago, and then I think back when we last spoke. Yeah, John was. Yeah, I think that's it. Those guys, MK, Teenage Disaster.
Damn. All right. Yeah, Teenage. I just got on him that A14 song. This.
Mm.
What was the fucking?
We got a lot of songs together.
It was more kind of like the bluesy type. Fucking.
Was it their newest song?
I don't know if it was their newest one. I'm gonna find it right now.
They went out, that was called Halloween Suicide that just came out.
Somnophobia.
Oh yeah, it's one of his biggest songs. Yeah.
Yeah, I just got on Teenage Disaster because of that shit. Yeah, that shit was fucking beautiful. A14 is he's another one. It went right over my head. A14 is really making a big wave right now too. I've noticed.
Yeah.
He's really kind of expanded what he can do musically.
Yeah, and he's also, I want to say, like the youngest person in the group, so it's really cool to see.
No, definitely. That's facts. Shit, and the producers in Spidergang. How do you guys coordinate? Because you got Salsa, Cubensis.
Yeah, so we're like the dedicated producers. A lot of people, like I'm here right now. You want to say hi, Black? Huh? Here with Black right now. This man also makes beats.
What's up?
What's good, bro?
And so you know, like most people in Spidergang like make beats. Like MK Ultra has been producing a lot for other people as well. Like I think you'll probably start seeing him as a more like dedicated. He's not gonna be a dedicated producer, but you're gonna see more of his beats like popping up on Spidergang member songs. Like there's more and more in the next like few months. Between me, Solsa, and Cube, you know, we don't really actually coordinate shit. Like I'm making a project with Solsa right now that like is like just like the two of us that will have some features on, but like. Us three, we kind of just all do our thing. I feel like all 3 of us, like, I think fit different. And this is like back when like the Gunk Rock interview happened, how this was mentioned. Like all 3 of us fit different slices of the pie. Yeah. So we don't like, you know, I make beats with Solsa and Cube like here and there, but we don't necessarily like do a whole lot together. I think because like bottom line, I think it's like when people want to like when somebody wants a salsa beat, like they want a salsa beat. When somebody wants like a cubensis beat, they want a cubensis beat. When someone wants like a Wendigo beat, they want like a Wendigo beat. I think like we all can do similar shit, but we like generally just like choose not to. Especially like I think salsa is the biggest like outlier because I think with Cube, like Cube is somebody like more like me who we try like doing like a lot of different things, but I feel like salsa out of all the producers in Spidergang has like the most like specialist like sound. Like salsa has like this like super like swampy, you know, like futuristic sounding. Like I heard Cubensis describe it as like he calls it like the night vision sound. Like it sounds like you're just like in night vision. That's kind of what that shit is. Like it's like pretty great description of it. Like I think with so when somebody wants a beat from Salsa, it's like, yeah, I'm trying to make like a night vision song. I want shit that's gonna be all sneaky, like I'm in Splinter Cell or some shit with a, you know, a silenced pistol just creeping around. Like so, you know, I'm not gonna always do that. Cube's not gonna always, and Salsa's not gonna always do that either. But it's like we don't necessarily coordinate that much. So I just think because like it kind of like naturally works out the way it works out.
Word. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Like you said, you guys and like Darky said and described in the Gunk Rock interview, which you guys should all go back and watch. You guys all kind of fit a different piece of the puzzle. You guys got all sorts of different sounds. Speaking of Gunk Rock, though, we gonna hear any more Gunk Rock music in the future? It's been a while.
You know, I don't really know. I'm not actually like a part of Gunk Rock, but because Ed and Flock are just in Spidergang now, like I don't know. Like I'm not gonna just like fully like say no, but like there's not really any kind of shit going on in that sphere right now.
Yeah, you guys are just kind of all making music together, as it seems.
Yeah, I think like right now, people are busy right now. Like majority of Spidergang right now is busy doing what they got to do. So, and I don't think that Gunk Rock is like a anything on the list. Like I think like Flacco, Eddie, and Darky are all doing their thing right now, and I don't believe that like they're gonna just like do another Gunk Rock tape or some shit right now because everyone else is just busy.
Yeah. Shit. Well, I mean, yeah, fucking that makes sense and shit. And
I'm not gonna fully outrule it, but I because I'm not in the group, but I would say like, yeah, if you're a Gunk Rock fan watching this, like, unfortunately, like, you know, I don't think that there's a lot of Gunk Rock on the horizon right now.
Gunk Rock may be far, far in the future if it's
there. But who
there.
knows? Maybe this shit will come out and like a week later, like a whole like double album will come out by Gunk Rock, and I'll just be like totally wrong. But I don't.
Yeah, we're working on it in secret and shit like that. My boy Torchface said this. He's like, Spidergang is an example of a modern group when you do the group thing and you do it right and you take it seriously. So what are some ways Spidergang on the come up kind of use social media and continue to use social media to remain relevant?
You know.